Deion Sanders, Shedeur's gesture, and Ryan Staub's rise. Inside Colorado's quarterback dilemma. College football thrives on drama, and no program seems to carry it with such flair as Deion Sanders' Colorado Buffaloes. Entering his third season in Boulder, Coach Prime has once again thrust his program into the national spotlight, not simply through wins and losses, but through the storylines that swirl around his team. This week, one story rises above the rest. The sudden quarterback dilemma that has turned sophomore Ryan Staub, once buried on the depth chart, into the man of the moment. His breakout performance against Delaware, combined with the heartfelt gesture of support from his former mentor Shedeur Sanders, has transformed Colorado's quarterback battle into a tale of loyalty, resilience, and the unpredictability of sport. A gesture from Cleveland, Shedeur Sanders steps back in. It's not every day that a current NFL quarterback picks up the phone to congratulate a college backup for his big moment. Yet that's exactly what happened last weekend. After Ryan Staub came off the bench and delivered 2 touchdowns in Colorado's 31-7 win over Delaware, his phone buzzed with calls and messages from across the country. Among them was one that carried extra weight. Shedeur Sanders, now with the Cleveland Browns and once Colorado's own QB1, took time to congratulate his old understudy. "You gotta understand that Staub is a lovable dude," Deion Sanders explained later. "Everybody who's played here previously has reached out to him and congratulated him. They did something to let them know how proud they are. He's always been a stand-up guy no matter who's starting. He's always been there in support. He's not going to be one of those guys where someone else is starting and he's on the bench mad. He's not built like that." In that moment, a bond was revealed, not just between a player and his former teammate, but between generations of Colorado quarterbacks. Shedeur, who once had the offense built around him in Boulder, understood what Staub had endured. And Staub, who had spent 2 years watching and learning, finally got his reward. The irony, from starter to spectator. Football has a cruel way of flipping scripts. Just as Staub seized his chance in Boulder, Shedeur Sanders found himself glued to the sideline in Cleveland. In the Browns' season opener against the Cincinnati Bengals, Shedeur did not take a single snap. A year ago, he was the face of Colorado football, the unquestioned starter, the leader of a revolution. Now he is waiting his turn in the NFL, a reminder of how quickly fortunes change. For Deion Sanders, the parallel was not lost. The coach often preaches patience, resilience, and faith in timing. Shedeur's support for Staub, even while navigating his own challenges, embodied those values. Ryan Staub, the ultimate teammate. Ryan Staub has been called many things since his breakout performance, but the one description Deion Sanders repeats most often is this: the ultimate teammate. He's going to be there and support and make sure you're prepared and make sure the scout team is prepared, Sanders said. He's going to give you everything he has when he gets the opportunity to practice. This is a real-life story happening right before your eyes. Hats off to him because he's the ultimate teammate. Those are the type of guys we're looking for. Staub's journey hasn't been glamorous. He arrived at Colorado with modest fanfare, buried behind Shedeur Sanders on the depth chart. He waited, he learned, he practiced, and for 2 years he hardly saw the field. In 2023, he earned one start when Shedeur was injured, throwing for 195 yards and a touchdown to Travis Hunter in a narrow loss to Utah. But last season, his snaps dwindled to just 20 over 4 games. In today's transfer portal era, such a situation usually leads to an exit. Many backups with Staub's resume would have transferred in search of more playing time. But Staub didn't. Deion Sanders admits he would have helped. Staub could have left via the transfer portal. "I would have gladly made calls to programs on his behalf," he said. But that option didn't appeal to him. He wanted to succeed at Colorado. That loyalty is now paying dividends. The Delaware game, a turning point. For much of Saturday's game against Delaware, the plan was business as usual. Deion Sanders, the senior transfer from Liberty, started strong, leading Colorado to a 10-0 lead in his first 2 series. He capped the opening drive with a 9-yard rushing touchdown, showing why he had won the job in fall camp. Then came Julian "Juju" Lewis, the 17-year-old freshman phenom. The highly touted recruit moved the ball with confidence but couldn't find the end zone in his 2 series. Enter Ryan Staub. With seconds left in the first half, Staub orchestrated a drive that ended in a touchdown, giving Colorado a 17-7 halftime lead. Then, on the first possession of the second half, he delivered the play that changed everything. A 71-yard bomb to Sincere Brown. The crowd erupted. The sideline chanted his name, and Colorado suddenly looked unstoppable. Staub finished the day 7 of 10 for 157 yards and 2 touchdowns. It wasn't just the numbers. It was the confidence, the command, and the spark he brought. For the first time in 2 years, the Buffalo's offense looked alive under someone other than Shedeur Sanders. A quarterback dilemma rekindled. Deion Sanders had a plan entering the season. Salter was the starter, Lewis was the future, and Staub was the insurance. That plan is now in question. "I know exactly how I'm going to handle the quarterback situation," Sanders said after the Delaware win. "I'm not going to say it." What he did admit, however, was that his decisions aren't based solely on what happens during games. "My decisions are based on a lot about what I see in practice and what I know to be true and what should happen based on preparation in practice." Still, with Houston looming in the Big 12 opener, the pressure to pick a starter has intensified. The understudy who refused to quit. For Staub, the moment is surreal. "It's crazy to be rewarded this way," he said. "It's been a long couple of years of just working and waiting and working." He even paid homage to his mentor Shedeur Sanders after the 71-yard touchdown, raising his wrist in the trademark Shedeur pose. It was a symbolic passing of the torch, the understudy honoring the star he once shadowed. "I got to see everything that he did and the way he does things day in and day out, the way he sees stuff in the film room," Staub explained. "Just the past couple years sitting behind him has really helped me." The human side, a Rudy moment in Boulder. When Staub's name echoed from the student section, Deion Sanders couldn't help but think of a Hollywood classic. "It reminded me of Rudy," Sanders said, referencing the 1993 film about Rudy Ruettiger, the undersized Notre Dame walk-on who defied the odds to play one game for the Fighting Irish. "I was the guy who cried when I saw the movie. Those type of guys who didn't really get opportunities or what they should, those have always been my guys." Unlike Rudy, Staub's story may not be confined to a single cameo. He could become the centerpiece of Colorado's season. What comes next? Colorado heads into Houston with momentum, but also uncertainty. Salter, the steady senior, offers experience. Lewis, the 5-star prodigy, represents the future. And Staub, the once-forgotten understudy, has suddenly become the wild card who might be the answer. For Deion Sanders, the decision carries weight far beyond X's and O's. It's about loyalty. It's about sending a message to players who stick it out instead of running to the transfer portal. It's about rewarding persistence. Staub had no idea he would even play against Delaware until the day before the game. Yet when his chance came, he was ready not just because of talent, but because of character. "Worked his butt off and understands who we are, what we want from that position," Sanders said. He balled out so much, the whole student section was chanting his name. Conclusion: a real-life football parable. Deion Sanders calls it a real-life story happening right before your eyes. It is a story of an understudy who refused to leave, of a father who preaches patience, of a son who offered a call of encouragement from the NFL sidelines, and of a team caught between stability and surprise. Colorado's quarterback dilemma is far from over. But in Ryan Staub, the Buffaloes have found more than just a player. They found a symbol of what Coach Prime wants his program to represent: resilience, loyalty, and belief. And in that sense, whether Staub starts against Houston or not, his story has already become one of the defining chapters of Colorado's season.